Hi, I just got home. It's a lot less buggy. As I've been talking about these haunted stories, I keep remembering more stuff. And I used to live in Cincinnati, Ohio, where I'm from. And one summer, I got this bargain deal to live in the top floor in an apartment of this bed and breakfast that where the ground floor was a restaurant. At first, it was awesome. I had really cheap rent for basically a studio apartment that didn't have a real kitchen, but it didn't matter because in the first floor they had an amazing ice machine that made Bali ice, so I could make my Loco Ritas, which in the 2010s was the drink of choice using Four Loco. The ice made it refreshing. That's all I needed. And it was a studio apartment, but I had access to the whole building. So the rent was cheap. When they would open the restaurant, I could work at the restaurant and get paid. I did photos for them for their website and got paid. I could use the building, the different rooms to do photo shoots because I did photography a lot back then. One of the owners was a chef that ran the restaurant, and he just wanted somebody to be there during the summer while they were out of town. So my main job was to just be there, and I could live there. And it was so awesome at first. And then bad things started to happen. I got attacked, which that could be another story, but the person that did it did get arrested and went to prison. I also fell down the stairs one time and luckily did not break my ankle. I also had my car broken into several times. But one thing that was actually light compared to all of those things was one morning at 4 or 5 in the morning, I got woken up suddenly by a loud noise. It turned out to be the fire alarm. So this was this Victorian mansion that had been converted into a bed and breakfast. I was on the top floor. I was three stories in a basement. To get to the fire alarm to turn it off, there was one place on the first floor, and I also had to go in the scary basement. And I wake up suddenly, there's like lights flashing, there's this horrible noise that would wake like anyone who's a deep sleeper. And I was just like, oh my God, what's happening? And then I realized I was just wearing a t-shirt and underwear. But it covered my butt. I ran down the 2 flights of stairs, which are like double stairs, and I was barefoot. Ran all the way to the basement, and I remember him showing me what to do in the case that the fire alarm went off. But I was like, at the time, I was like, why would it go off? I'm not going to pay attention like I should. So I didn't know exactly what to do. I punched the code wrong like 10 times because I also had just woken up. My whole body was shaking. Finally, I figure it out. I do it, and then I have to go up to the first floor to the front and also type in another code in there. Meanwhile, the fire alarm triggers the firemen to come. They're banging on the door. I'm like, hold on, I have to do this. It finally shuts off the alarm. The firemen come in, and they're like, where's the fire? And I was like, there isn't one. They are really annoyed, and they're like, why did you set the fire alarm off? And I was like, I didn't. It woke me up. And they're like, are you sure? And I'm like, so they go to investigate. The thing is the fire alarm is the kind that you would have to manually pull down with a hand, but it's back in the kitchen of the restaurant that I never went into, not once the whole time that I was there. Not even when I worked the restaurant, I never went back there because of the way things worked. It was more like a banquet serving situation. And also, I didn't even know where it was. It was like hidden behind something, and they think I'm lying and that I set the alarm off. So the owner shows up, the chef. He also was mad at me. He thinks that I set it off. And I was like, by that point, it's like 5:36 in the morning, and I'm like, no, I'm not a morning person. Also, why would I be back there? There's no reason. I'm like, I use the ice machine at the bar. That's it. So that's when it seems like he finally realizes I'm not lying. That's when he tells me that there are ghosts in the building, and I'm like, no, because I've had some things happen. He tells me a story that really scared me to my decor. Watch part 2 to find out what it is.